Let me push this back a little bit more so you have some room. How can kids eat healthy? Well, I'm going to sum up 3 hours in just a few minutes. First, we need to talk about why it's healthy for kids to eat healthy. What's happening, and most of you know, there's processed foods and there's natural foods. Natural foods meaning in their God-given state, the way the Creator designed them. Whole foods, that's why this big movement, whole foods, plant-based foods, because they all give life to the body. Processed foods do not. So this is why it's so important. Many of you have heard GMO, genetically modified organisms, and there's something out there also, glyphosate. It's in Roundup. So here's what happens, believe it or not, because profit and revenue is the bottom line in all these decisions, rarely is it health. They will take corn, they will take soybean, and they will actually genetically modify the genes of the corn or the soybean or cotton or whatever it is, and they'll inject something that is makes the plant Roundup ready. It means you can spray Roundup on the corn and it will not die. It'll kill everything around it, weeds, everything around it, but the corn will not die because it's been genetically modified and it is Roundup ready. It can be sprayed with the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. Now, we take all this corn that has been genetically modified and altered, and I believe gene splicing and changing changes the natural enzymes, changes the vitamins and minerals, because it begins to distort and pervert how God designed it. So that's the biggie with GMOs. When we try to replicate and reproduce something, we can't match God. There's always side effects to that. And that's why we're seeing leaky gut syndrome. We're seeing attention deficit disorders. We're seeing kids can't pay attention, learning disabilities. What's going on with little Johnny? He's always sick, always allergies, always on antibiotics. It's because I believe we're feeding them a lot of junk, processed foods that is not good for them. We are so wonderfully and masterfully made that we do exist, but it begins to wreak havoc on the body. So genetically modified is not good, and it's in most processed foods because it's cheaper. Also, when vitamins and minerals are heated, you know, you buy your favorite vitamin at the store, it's probably been heated, there's fillers, there's binders. And take vitamin D, for example, vitamin E. When you start to splice and exchange and put this supplement in there, it does change, it alters the way the body can uptake those nutrients. So it's good to get whole plant-based foods. The reason it's so hard for kids to eat healthy is because it's so important, I believe. Anything that's important in life is hard to do. Hence, there is an attack. I believe as a pastor, the Pantry pastor they call me, I believe there's a good, there's an evil, there's a right, there's a wrong, there is the enemy of our soul, there is God, and he goes and perverts everything. Obviously, why wouldn't he want to go after our health? When I'm not healthy, I'm not doing good. Well, that's for a whole nother video. I've actually got others on that. But let me get right to the point. Here's what you tuned in about. How can kids eat healthy? Number one, let me just show you what I've tried. Reward them. And explain to them, hey, if you eat this apple, you can have a little bit of that, but you need to eat the apple first. And by the time they eat that nutrient-dense food, they'll soon find they don't want as many chips, as many crackers. So there can be a reward. You also have to educate them. As my kids get older, I'm educating them on how the body works. You see these blueberries, you see these strawberries, the phytochemicals in these greens and in these plants. All of this is life-giving food. When you drink the Monster drink and the Fritos and the Doritos, that is bringing death to your body. Sure, there's a spike and you feel good because it's part of a drug addiction culture, processed foods, caffeine, nicotine, sugars. Anyway, back to the kids. Educate them. Teach, begin to say, this is why this is healthy. It's a God-given food. And you also make small changes. Begin to make small changes. I started to substitute good, healthy almond milk with our milk, and if the milk was halfway down, I'd add some almond milk, and they eventually got used to it. They still obviously prefer milk, and I'm hoping that some of you do research on pasteurized milk is just sugar, basically sugar, lactose. The enzymes are wiped out, the vitamins, the important nutrients that are coming from this life-giving source for those who drink it in moderation. Pasteurized and not organic, it is not good. Organic is the next best step, of course, because it's free of the hormones and pesticides and herbicides and the fungicides that the animals can eat and we consume their milk and different things. But do your own research on raw. Look at immunization, studies from immunology department of the government, and how raw can be very beneficial. Yes, pasteurization kills everything, and there are risks involved in that. But there's risk with raw sushi. There's risk with E. coli and salmonella on spinach and different things. So do a little bit of research. You'll be surprised on that. Out of sight, out of mind. This is something from our own pantry. I don't know if you can see. We've got sweet potatoes, and you can make sweet potato French fries. Bake them in the oven. Takes a little time to get used to. I baked some kale chips. They get hard like chips, kale chips. I put some broccoli and a lot of vegetables in mason jars. We've got some good protein powders. Bone broth. I like the animal aspect of it, the animal protein aspect of it. A lot of health benefits. You can research all this on your own. Organic plant-based protein. And then I would take maybe a kid's cereal that they like, free of GMOs, no added sugar. This isn't a great choice, but it's a good choice. And then I would maybe mix a little bit of this in as well, so that you're kind of complementing this one and trying to get it in there. Again, we can't force it. I'm not talking about running a prison, but I am talking about educating yourself. Also, let your children have a treat. Hey, we're going to have a treat today. You want that ice cream? Okay, a treat shouldn't be a daily staple. Okay, every single day you get your Oreos and your ice cream and different things. That's not healthy. That doesn't work. Also, remember, this takes time. Yes, your children will throw a fit, but it's a good reminder. Who runs the house? Little Johnny or you? Little cute Sarah or you? You're responsible for the choices of your children, as am I. So it will take time. They will complain, but when we have bell peppers cut up with hummus, with carrots, with mushrooms sauteed and onions and beans, homemade soaked and healthy things that don't taste bad. They'll begin to appreciate that. Now our kids start to grab an apple or a banana or some carrots or celery with a little bit of almond butter. I mix almond butter and peanut butter because they still choose peanut butter, organic peanut butter. So almond butter is usually a better choice, organic. So I try to mix that in there. And again, it's a battle. It's hard. It's difficult. Welcome to life. If you want to eat healthy, you want your kids to eat healthy, you have to make choices. For example, people say, oh, Shane, $35. That's a lot. And I say, yeah, all you have to do is stop eating your Frappuccino for 10 days, and you just paid for this. So it's all about choices. It's all about reprioritizing how we spend our money. So it takes time. They are withdrawing. Your children are withdrawing from processed foods, from refined, harmful sugars. I'm a fan of organic honey, Manuka honey, so maybe some dark maple syrup, the way God intended, not out of moderation, in moderation. And they're coming off of sugar. They're also coming off of caffeine. This is something I can't really believe, that we allow our children to have caffeine. I mean, I see 6-year-olds grabbing a Coke, a 16-ounce soda from their parents. And guys, we've got to wake up. That is, I don't even want to get into the 10 grams or 10 teaspoons of sugar in that, not to mention the caffeine. You are setting them up for failure, and as am I if I don't make certain decisions. Again, it's all about falling forward. Nobody does this perfectly. Recently, my daughter came home. She goes, Dad, I had 7 popsicles today. Like, really? How'd that happen? Well, I've got 4 Otter Pops or whatever they call them from a friend. I'm like, oh, Lord, help me. So it is, you have to have grace there, but on that side note, watch out for those. The number one ingredient, corn syrup, tons of sugar, bad for you, GMO modified corn syrup, not to mention yellow 40, red 50, whatever those colors are, food dyes, food coloring, artificial flavor, and we think that's going to give life to our children and our families. We are gravely mistaken. So, final closing point, you lead. You lead your family, not your children. Yeah, I'm going to hear a little bit of complaints, but they will thank you later. I guarantee as they get older, they will thank you later because you have a better chance of setting them up for success, not failure in their health. And people say, well, my kids aren't overweight. Maybe not, but they are very, very malnourished if you're not feeding them life-giving food. I would get vegetables as staples. Fruit as staples, clean fruit, vegetables. Change the way your family thinks. If you blow it from time to time, okay, your kids throw a fit, let's get over it. We shouldn't have had that for dinner. Okay, back on track. It's really about making better choices 80% of the time is my thought on that. So, again, don't let little 5-year-old Johnny run the home. You make the best decision. Seek God, ask Him for direction. And it is easier to just go with the flow. Okay, have this, have this, have this. But at some point, we've got to make a decision that no more. We are changing the health of our families. Get it out of the pantry. Get it out of your refrigerator. Out of sight, out of mind. They can't yet drive. So while they're under your roof, you are responsible for the food choices they make. And childhood obesity has now reached epidemic levels, and it all falls back on our shoulders. We have to be difference makers in our homes. That's where it starts. So thank you. Until the next time. Oh, by the way, you can find all this information, most of it, in my new book, Feasting and Fasting. What works, what doesn't, and why. Feasting and Fasting, what works, what doesn't, and why. It's a free download. I'll put the link in there. Also, what works when diets don't. Another free download, just giving you biblical information on how to better take care of the body. So hope to see you next time. Thank you.